This is Scott Becker with the Becker Business and the Becker Private Equity Podcast. We try and bring you 1 to 2 business episodes a day, and then typically also an interview with a brilliant business leader, someone who's got something to share that's of interest to our audience. And thank you for listening every day. So here's the story today. Now, for people that follow sports, I'm going to give you a sports analogy and metaphor today. And this is going to be more a body of life episode than a true business or market insights episode. But for those that follow sports, there was Reggie Jackson, who was often called Mr. October because in the big moments he came up very big. There was Kirk Gibson with the walk-off home run in the World Series that made him sort of all-time heroic, where he came off the field limping, came into the game as a pinch hitter and hit a home run, and simply amazing. There was Franco Harris of the old Pittsburgh Steelers with the immaculate reception. Sort of ball kicked off a different player into his hands. He runs it in. Franco Harris, the immaculate reception. And I think now you could add Scott Levy to that list. Some of the people that win are those athletes that win under pressure in big moments. Scott Levy did this yesterday in a remarkable way. The other team, after Scott Levy did what he did, looked like the modern-day version of Bugs Bunny, akin to rats foiled again. A great day to watch a player at the top of his game. There's another Scott Levy who's a close friend and a close colleague, but he is great, but perhaps he is not Mr. October. Just to define the scene a little bit further, there's a great Kenny Rogers song called Coward in the Country. And I love the song, Coward in the County. But, you know, in the Coward of the County turns and closes the door to fight his arch nemesis. And there's a phrase in the song, you could have heard a pin drop when he did this. And it's a great, great song. Kenny Rogers has some of those great ballads of songs that you can just love and listen to. He's got another one, of course, called The Gambler, which you talk about in one of my most recent books. Building great businesses, create momentum, overcome setbacks, and scale with confidence. That's again, that great. We use The Gambler in that book to talk about whether you should double down or pivot or abandon a business. But when Scott Levy sank this putt on the 17th hole, and there's so much to this because he's playing against a player with a huge personality who will remain nameless, but does not like to play golf unless you are gambling, does not want to be out there. It's as though we're not worthy of his time unless he could take money from us. In all seriousness, great, great fun to be with. But this guy that we often call the gambler, who will remain nameless here, missed a dagger in the heart birdie putt that would have put this match away, and Scott Levy and I would have lost the match to these two other players who had beaten us recently. But Scott comes up after not having a great round, and after the guy called the gambler did have a great round. The gambler's partner, Inferno, had a good front nine, but nothing to write home about, but a solid front nine. So we're behind by so much money, so many dollars. And the gambler, who's the one who's always giving us tips on gambling, says, well, you got to press this, you have to press this, you have to press that. So he presses us, or we press them, we press back, they press back. And all of a sudden, you're at a hole where there's literally a couple $100 at stake, which is a lot of money for people like me. Maybe not for them, but it's a different story. You know, one's like the Carvano of the Midwest. One runs a company. One has a great business, and I'm just trying to get by. But all of a sudden, we got a couple $100 laying on a hole, and we think, oh, my God, it's going to be a bad night. No one at our house is going to eat. It's going to be awful. There's going to be no new shoes. And it's hard because we've got a big combined family. So if I was a couple $100 in a hole, we might as well be not eating that week. We might as well just be like, it's Taco Bell, not Tacos del Cartel. And so that was the setup for this. And then Scott Levy comes to the mound or the green. The gambler misses a birdie putt. That means, under par, a 5 for a 4. He would have had a 4 on a par 5. And the hole's worth a couple $100 now. And Scott Levy just nails the putt for birdie, makes Scott Levy one of the all-time greats. He may make it into the Northern Illinois University or the Elmhurst Hall of Fame. This is a guy, a massive turn of events in the match. And more importantly, this is likely to inspire great car sales for 2026. But it's a great showing of humility to greatness, the Scott Levy story. That's really what this is, humility to greatness, the Scott Levy story. He takes down the Gambler and the Inferno and has a great win for the ages. God bless Scott Levy. Thank you for listening to the Becker Business, the Becker Private Equity Podcast. We hope we don't offend you by digressing, by getting into a sports episode today, not a business or market insights episode today, but the greatness of Scott Levy, often called the Levinator, led us to this. He's sort of the Mr. January to the Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. God bless him, and God bless, because my heart almost stopped yesterday. It's money I can't afford to lose. I'm playing with the big boys. They're gambling for big dollars, and thank God for Scott Levy and his putting. Thank you for listening to the Becker Business and the Becker Private Equity Podcast. God bless you all. Have a great new year.